What is up, besties? It is your girl, the Karmic DF, back to you again with another video. And this time, I want to take a look at karma. Now, I'm going to look at it from a specific category. So let me know if you guys want me to branch out into like different ways of how karma can play out. What I want to look at in today's video is, do the people that have hurt us ever have to basically see, feel, understand what they put us through? And, you know, I understand that that would happen vice versa as well. So if we did some shit, we're going to have to find out about that. So I want to know, because we can all probably, I think someone's already popping into my besties' minds right now. If like, you know, once we, you know, pass away, like, do we have to face it? Because I don't know about y'all, and I don't know if it's the mixture of the full moon and Mercury retrograde coming in, but there's a lot of people that made me cry for like a long extended amount of time that just went on with their life. Like everything was fine, you know, whether it was exes that were like, all right, throw her away, date someone else, and no harm, no foul, or, you know, friends that were frenemies or whatever. And so I want to see, because I think we all want to know, do they ever have to see what they've done to us? Do they ever have to feel the pain that we felt? Is there any sort of karma in the version of like our feelings? You know what I mean? Do they ever have to face the harm that they caused us emotionally? So that's what I want to look at. And I kind of know already that karma's real in the sense of like, I've seen it play out in the day-to-day where like if people put money over connections, usually their money will fall apart to some capacity, stuff like that. So I do know that that plays out. But if you want me to look at it in a different way, let me know in the comment section and we can do a part 2 of this. But for today's video, I want to look strictly at, do people have to kind of like I've been thinking about, if anyone has seen Bruce Almighty, his girlfriend is like crying and she's like, help me God, I love him, but I don't want to love him anymore. And he's seeing it. So that's kind of what I want to know. Like, do they ever have to see that we've shed those tears, that do they ever have to embody what they've done? You know what I mean? So as always, this is a legend and for entertainment purposes only. Thank you to everybody that sits through 30 seconds of ads. It's a free and easy way to support my page. I have a few shout outs. I want to do a quick, just a little message. I'm going to do my little message box again. So quick shout out to my besties real quick, because you guys are amazing as always. I got this in the mail from my Amazon wish list. This is my absolute favorite tea. Yogi would be my close second, but this is my absolute favorite tea. It's so good. It reeks of bougie, to be honest with you. And I got a beautiful little note on here. Let me make sure I close the last name. There we go. And it just says, hi, bestie. I thought that since you are taking next week off, I appreciate you, to give yourself a chance to grieve, you might enjoy this tea, feel better. I actually love this. Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate you. I actually had it the moment that it came in the mail. And then I have one more thing from my Amazon wish list, which is exciting because actually, guys, fun fact, obviously you guys know I sing because I sing in the readings. I want to eventually, maybe next year, I don't know when, but I do want to start making my own music, which would probably be themed more around like spirituality. If you've ever heard of like Tinashe, I think it'd be kind of vibes like that, or Nico, stuff like that. So anyway, another beautiful subscriber sent me this gorgeous drum, and it's just so beautiful. So if anyone real quick needs to ground or center, it would help. Yeah, as my throat starts to go. These drums are just so gorgeous. And of course, she wrote on the note, which y'all, if you want to send me gifts, that's so beautiful, but you just need to know that these matter so much more to me than the gifts because I'm keeping them and they bring me a lot of joy, you know? So this one says, thank you for all the readings and wanting to spread love. Enjoy your gift, from Carrie. So thank you so much, Carrie. Now, everybody, let's reground, let's center, help us get ahead of the day, or rather just feel more connected. So if we can just take a deep breath in real quick. Whew. I don't know about y'all, but that felt good for me. I don't know about y'all, but I know about us. And it's the only way we know how to ride. Sorry, y'all. All right, so let's get into a real quick collective message. This is from my Otter Spirit box. If you guys didn't already know, I have linked up with Otter Spirit. So if you guys are looking for beautiful, grade A authentic crystal bracelets, and they donate to Otters, it's in the description box. You can get percentage, I think it's 20% off. So go ahead and check them out. My throat, oh my God. And their boxes are fancy as fuck. So like these would be great gifts for Christmas. But anyway, feel called to pull 3. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Okay. No. Yes. Okay. Let's see what we got here, besties. All right, spirit guides, what does the collective need to hear? Let the opportunities come to you. Okay, so I do feel like the collective is definitely going into a receptive, I'm seeing yin in my mind, so like fallback energy. So I don't know if you guys feel like you're hitting a brick wall, because I'm seeing sim characters hitting the brick wall, but then I'm seeing a spirit team go, no, 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 and then trying to put them in their bed. So I don't know if you guys have been like trying to go 20 miles an hour, or that's not fast, 100 miles an hour, and it feels like, yeah, I'm seeing a car with like 3 broken wheels and stuff like that. I feel like some of you are yeah, I'm hearing Take It Slow by John Legend. This is just a collective. The essence of life is to communicate love. So yeah, I think a lot of you might be struggling right now, especially full moon, Mercury retrograde, things have been coming up. It's in the fallback is what I'm hearing. So if we're struggling, if we feel like we got some brain fog, shout out to my psychics in the chat. I can feel it. Hold on. Without gratitude, there is no prosperity. Yeah. So I think right now, especially the full moon, we're in Mercury shadow if you're seeing this, but you know, if not, it just might be a time for you if you're seeing this in the future. With essence of life is to communicate love. Maybe you guys are getting impacted by Mercury shadow, but if not, maybe just things are coming up to your subconscious. Spirit wants you to know that these old things are coming up to be released because they're trying to bring you new energies. I'm seeing the Fool card in my mind's eye, and they're saying to surrender and to be, remind yourself, because it takes 21 days to make a habit. That's science, that's psychology. So just like it's easy to be, you know, angry and upset and resentful, it's easy to be grateful. It's a practice like everything else, just like muscles and, you know, like exercise and stuff like that. Some of you might be called to start working out or taking nature walks, I'm seeing for some of you. But I feel like some of you just might be feeling stagnant and complacent, feel like, yeah, my throat's starting to go. I think some of you might have some shit you need to get off your chest, whether that's in a journal. I mean, do it properly, because I'm being drawn to my black obsidian. So maybe that's why I went on a rant, and that's probably why I want to do this karma reading. But Spirit's asking you to honor the emotions that you're feeling, release them as they go, but remember that this too shall pass, and that love is all around. And you can be the love that you need is what I'm hearing. You can be what it is that you're looking for. I see a lot of you being like, I'm struggling. I want to, you know, reach out to others. And that's great, you know, but at the end of the day, when we can be our own safety net, our own security blanket, we can feel that much safer in the world and that much more in power of the world, especially in the chaos that we're going through, especially in America. I can't speak for other countries, but, you know, I mean, there's war and everything. So I think Spirit's just kind of asking you, you know, if it doesn't fuel your capacity to feel joy and gratitude, starve it. So again, like the news, don't fucking watch it, bestie. You don't need to. You can get the information on Google in 2 seconds, and Google's biased anyway. So I think Spirit's just kind of asking you, if it doesn't bring you joy, to starve it. It takes 21 days to make a habit. And if you trust, yeah, I'm hearing I live by faith, not by sight. Trust in your heart, trust in your intuition. If it doesn't feel good, release it. If it does feel good, cherish it. I think Spirit's kind of asking us all to get to know ourselves better so that we can be in alignment for more gratitude, therefore more opportunity and more things to be happy that we have. So I do think a lot of you are clearing out a lot of old shit to bring in the new. It's reminding me of spring cleaning. And a reminder that in the wintertime, that's when nature and everything else, the animals, right? They go into hibernation. They don't work themselves extra hard to make up for it. You know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, I'm hearing the song Slow Ride, Take It Easy. I feel like Spirit's just asking you to be gentler on yourself, especially if right now you're experiencing winter. But just in general, if we're seeing this in the future, whatever it is. Yeah, because as I pulled my deck out, look, the devil card right on the back. I don't remember the last time I used this. So I just feel like Spirit is asking you guys to don't push away the negative emotions that are coming towards the surface, especially as Mercury retrograde starts. Honor it, journal it, release it, give it a good cry. You know, if you're not really comfortable with your emotions, use music, use movies, channel it in a productive way, because these emotions, these negative thoughts, anything that's coming up, especially like if you're thinking about past exes, past frenemies, past whatever you've cut off, Spirit's saying, feel into it, because that's how you'll reach the state of detachment. That's how you'll reach your next chapter where you're no longer in alignment to people, places, things that are going to be a mismatch for you, whether they're, my throat keeps going. So I feel like a lot of you have dealt with people that made you feel like you weren't enough. I'm being drawn to my labradorite crystal. So mental health for sure. So Spirit's just asking you, honor the emotions that are coming up. Let it fall through. Yeah, I'm hearing Hillary Duff, I'm coming clean. Where it's like, let the rain fall down, I'm coming clean. So I feel like Spirit's just asking you, you know, you're not going crazy. If you're just all of a sudden feeling super negative. Also, I'm being drawn to, I don't know why. If you're in a place where you can no longer be outside, don't forget multivitamins are good because some of you might be lacking in, what is it? Spirit D3? Whatever the sun vitamin is. I don't know, because I'm being drawn to seasonal affective disorders. So some of you might be dealing with that as well. But maybe it's just a little bit of depression or a little bit of shadow work that needs to be done. But I just keep hearing the only way out is through. Journaling would be good and beneficial. If we're grieving a spouse, you could channel it through music, through movies. You get the point. So I'm going to leave that there. If that resonated at all, let me know in the comment section because I really enjoy the little new otter box thing I'm doing. Or otter spirit, whatever the fuck's called. So, all right, let's get into the reading. Spirit guides, ancient ancestors, angels. Thank you to everybody that sits through 30 seconds of ads. It's a free and easy way to support my page. And if you're new here, bestie, smash that subscribe button. We cover everything. Pop culture, conspiracy, everything. Literally everything. Psychology. So let's find out, do people have to face what they've done? Do they have to see how they've hurt us? I know that we are all thinking of at least one specific person. I know I'm thinking about at least two. 2.5, actually. So let's find out once and for all, do people ever have to face what they've done? Do they have to know that they've hurt us? All alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Comment down below if you enjoy these types of videos so that I know, because I've been seeing that people are getting irritated that pop culture always wins. I hear you, but it's up to you guys to change that. So you know what I mean. Let me know in the comments if this is what you enjoy. All right, do people have to face what they've done? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, yeah, they do. Okay. Oh, we're just, okay, cool. Beautiful. Yeah. You know, I kind of had a feeling that I was going to see a little bit of that too. Hold on. Look at how it's got Emperor and Empress, which reminds me like couple energy, parents as well. Oh my God, this is also how tired I am. If you want to book a private reading with me, thekarmicdf.com. Right now, everybody, check your emails because I've already sent out the first batch of waitlist emails. So it could have fallen in your spam folder. Okay, anyway. All right, Spirit team, do people have to face what they do? Okay. I'm getting a message more so that they're haunted more than we know. Because remember how I just went on a rant about like Mercury retrograde and it coming back to us? I feel like, yeah, I'm hearing Sam Smith. I know I'm not the only one. I think they have to face it because they have to evolve, especially with the Chariot card. It's like, I have to acknowledge where I let them down and where this didn't grow. So I think it's more, one thing I'll say is off the earthly realm, not in the, like once they pass, I think it's more from a detached perspective. Whereas when they're living, it's like, it's a haunting. That's what it feels like. It feels like a haunting. It's like, until I evolve from this, it's because what they're reminding me of is like, I know someone, this is just an example here. I know someone who was, you know, really tormented by their spouse. That was 30 years ago. And to this day, they still have nightmares. And to this day, it still comes up. So I think that, I just heard our human narcissism makes us believe that other people don't feel too, when in reality, people are hurt even if they walk away. People are hurt even if they don't show it. Because look at how there's a ghost in the door. Like, I know that's not a ghost, but like that's how it feels. It's like it's always kind of trailing behind you. So just like there are people that haunt you, you're haunting them. It's almost like I think it's kind of happening around the same time, because it's like you're supposed to elevate from whatever this is. So like this kind of feels relationship dynamic-y, but I could also see it being the parents too. So like if you've cut off a parent or something like that. But it's like, you'll feel it around the same time. So it's almost like when you're thinking about, let's say you're thinking about Dave and how he broke your heart 3 years ago, and you're like, why the fuck is Dave on my mind right now? It's because Dave is simultaneously thinking about you. You're both like tapping into like a telepathic network is what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. And it's like we all tap into it. That's why we can feel things. Oh, yeah, because there's this fucking dude. He was one of the people I was thinking about specifically, where it's like, why does this guy still come up in my head? I don't even want him back. It's because they're thinking about what they've done. It's almost like the ghosts from the past. You know what it's reminding me of? I'm seeing Scrooge in my mind's eye where he's like, no, enough. I don't want to know anymore. So they do. Okay, so there is one thing I'm seeing where sometimes they'll block it out with like, you know, whether it's TV or drugs or just partying or getting out of the house or work, whatever. But when they do that, they disconnect from their emotional body. And I think that's when we'll find out if they have to deal with it on the other side. Which probably, because I'm getting a thumbs up, but it's like some of them get too haunted by it and then they don't want to deal with it anymore and they compartmentalize it and it kind of actually shuts their heart off. So one thing I'll say is those people you're thinking about where it's like, how the fuck did you do me that bad? And they never apologize and they're going on their merry way acting like everything's great. No, not really. At the bare minimum, if they've managed to shove this down, they can't feel the way that we can anymore. Because okay, low lows, high highs. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you feel your feelings and if you cry and if you feel the sadness, then you can feel the high highs, the happiness, the love, the joy. And I felt that personally as someone who, if you peeped my social media back in the 20s of my life, you would have seen that I used to flex that I couldn't cry. And guess what? I had an anxiety disorder. So it's kind of like that. It's like if they decide to push it down, they'll be dealing with it in ways that will impact their future connections because they won't allow anyone to touch their heart space anymore. Things won't be able to flourish. So if you're thinking about an ex from the past, if they can't deal with you, then they're going to go on into that next relationship repeating the pattern because, again, they're not touching into their heart space. And if you can't release the past is trailing behind you all the time. Like, notice how it's trailing behind him. The Chariot card's blocked. It's like you can't grow because you're afraid to let go of the past. And in order to let go of the past, you have to feel it. So this is kind of why we continuously attract karmic relationships because it's like, that's why the parents showed up. That makes sense. Because it repeats in our relationships. They're drawing me to a best friend that I had for a few years that, oh my God, acted like, I'm not even going to say which parent, but they acted a lot like one of my negative parents. And I didn't realize that I was attracting that until I started being the person I needed to be. So it's like, until whoever we're thinking about, right? Until they heal, you will always be a memory. You will always be something that haunts them, and they can compartmentalize it all they want, but it's still going to be stuck in the back of their mind. So that's good to know, the petty in me. All right, Spirit, do people have to deal with what they... Obstacles, dealing with... Yeah, it's like obstacles will always get... They're not going to be able to... Like, you know what they're showing me is like video games where it's like you go to the next phase, the next chapter. It's like they can't move on fully until they've dealt with the past. So it's like even their new opportunities, notice how this Ace of Cups is half full. So it's like they can't even really fully get into their future connect. I feel like this is going to help a lot of people that are stuck on exes in particular. But they can't even fully get into future relationships because it's not until they release, see those teardrops? It's not until they release that they can fill this cup back up. So they're always going to be half empty because they still have like bitterness of the past. So they are still thinking about you because it's trapped energy. It has nowhere to go. That's science. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It has to be utilized. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like you will always be haunting them. You will always be a memory to them. You will always be, whether it's the one that got away, if they fucked up a good thing or something like that, the only way that they can stop thinking about you forever is if they feel it and release it. Because it's reminding me a lot of like where I've cried over people and now I don't even think about them anymore. But I've honored that. So it's like, unless they honor it, you're practically a ghost tormenting them, to be honest. Because it's like, I don't like change. And so it's exacerbating your memory is kind of the vibe. But Spirit, what about like what they pass on? Like, do they have to deal with that at the end? It's like they give you all the time in the world on the earth plane to make amends in your heart space with what happened. You know, the people that we're talking about, not us. Like, I mean, also us, but like we're focusing on other people, right? So it's kind of like if they decide to fight it, they're never going to really be in touch with their inner child. They're never going to be able to fully tap into their joy. And it's like you're a ghost. But they've detached. So it's like they can't even, the more people do this, I think this is also a warning from Spirit, especially with the way the world's headed right now. The more we detach from our emotions, the less we can feel anything at all. And I think this is why we got a lot of narcissistic tendencies running rampant in our world right now, because it's like we've all, well, not all of us, but you know what I mean? A lot of us have not been taught how to feel our feelings and not nurture the inner child. And with the Four of Wands, it reminds me of home, family, where we came from. And it's like in those primitive years, the first 7 years of our lives, when we're in that hypnotic theta state, if we aren't taught how healthy love is, then we have to learn through karmic partners. So because we're learning constantly through these people, yeah, they're going to haunt us because the whole goal was to make us see where we let ourselves down to begin with. So we both have a part to play, whether you're the anxious attachment or whether you're the emotionally avoidant. Both of us are still going to be haunted by it because we both had something to learn. Does that make sense? So I don't know that I would say it's necessarily karma. It's more of like energy. It's like you put your energy into that, and so your energy is still stuck in that. So until you release it, you're haunted by it. Does that make sense? Until you make peace with it, it's still a makeup of your body. So whoever you're thinking of that, you know, threw you away and went on to girlfriend number 17, you're still living rent free in their head because they have not been dealing with their shit. And it's like, there's a lot of people out there that will just jump to other people or things. I'm also seeing that, you know, buying shit to feel better with that 9 of coins here. But it's like, you can't escape this. You can't. You have to face it eventually. I think there are some people that do manage to detach from their emotional body their entire lives. Because what I'm seeing is like, I'm seeing a heart chakra and I'm seeing it going darker and darker and grayer until it's like a clog. That's like, it reminds me of like an oily clog that's like got gook in it. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the heart eventually kind of shuts itself off, which is why you see people becoming more and more toxic because they don't know that in order to feel free and independent, you have to feel the old shit that's keeping you from feeling like your cup is full. You have to release it. So it's not really karma. It's more energetic, if that makes sense, because it's not closed. It's like there's a chapter and they haven't closed the chapter. So because you haven't closed the chapter, it's like, you know how Netflix is like, are you still watching? Are you still watching? Are you still watching? Hey, are you still watching? Like, that's kind of the vibe. It's like it comes around in waves. They don't think about you 24/7, but it comes about in waves where it's like, hey, you remember how you did this? Hey, remember that ex from 3 years ago? It's the same thing we feel. It's just the vice versa. Because I'm assuming the people that are going to watch this are probably more likely the anxiously attached, the people that gave and didn't receive anything back. So we're kind of focused a little bit more on the emotionally avoidance here, but it could vice versa. You know what I mean? Depending on where you are. But it's like, until you feel it, it's always going to be in your makeup because you have to release it. Yeah, there's no point trying to escape it. I do feel when you pass away that if you've abused your power over people, you most definitely have to look at that, for sure. If something wasn't fair, 5 of Pentacles is abuse of power. King of Swords, I'm being drawn to how emotions over logic, so it's like not seeing from a bird's eye view. And then notice the justice scales on there, so it's like not fair, right? And notice his body language is kind of very I can't speak what I'm channeling. Preservation. No, you know how when you close your arms, it's to, yeah. Anyway, if you understand behavioral analysis, I don't want to go into a whole tangent here, but it's like if you've denied what you've done, you do have to face that. It's reminding me of this Netflix mini series. Highly recommend. It's really good. Where this teenage chick dies and she has to make amends to her family before she can pass on, and her friends, and like help them. If anyone knows what that show is, feel free to mention it in the description box. I forget, the chick from Victorious, I think. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. I don't watch shit. I don't watch any normal people stuff these days. Anyway, it's like the people that decided to shut off from their emotional body do have to look at it on the other side, because it's almost like, the one thing I'll say is it doesn't really feel like it's coming from an emotional perspective when it's on the other side, though. It's more like a higher perspective. It's more like, because I'm being drawn to the book here, so it's kind of like we're doing the soul review, and it's like, it's more so, Spirit, how do I word this? It's like looking at a bird's eye perspective, like, oh, that's why I couldn't open my heart, because, but it's more like a clumping of people. So like, let's say, I have to give an example, otherwise this isn't going to make sense. All right, a lot of you know my story about the ex that cheated on me with 5 of my friends, right? So let's say like he passes away, right? He's not going to be thinking about just me. It's going to be like, oh, this is why I couldn't have a healthy relationship, because when it came to Mindy and Ashley and Sarah and Katrina and Victoria, whatever, like, it's more of a clumping of all the people, and it's like, it's to make their soul understand where they've let themselves down. So I think we get more karma on the earth plane than we do. I mean, they evolve, so there's no ego on the other side, so it's not like they're being hurt by finding out what they've done. It's more like they're understanding. They're getting the bigger picture. So the haunting that we want is kind of more when they're alive, whereas when people pass away, it's more from a bird's eye view. Where did I let myself down? Where did I inhibit my own growth? Inhibit my emotional center from developing is kind of the vibe here. And it's kind of like you have to do a review of like, okay, remember when you dated Stacy from that time to that time, and then Brittany, and it's kind of like that, but it's not so much like we're leaning into it where it's like, you have to watch how Mindy cried from 7:30 p.m. January 2nd all the way until February of 2028. Like, it's not that deep. It's more like, this is what they were trying to be. This is where your trigger was. It's very matter of fact, which is kind of a bummer. I'm not going to lie, but hey, as long as they're still on the earthly field, we do kind of haunt each other, I suppose. All right, Spirit, after death, though. Yeah, it's like I just said higher perspective. Now we got the intuition card. Yeah, it's like you become your own hero. You figure out where you went wrong, where you prioritize things and the trivial shit over like connection, and also looking at their own insecurities. So it's more self-focused, if I'm being honest, where it's like, but why did you do that? Why wouldn't you let that person get close to you? And it's like, oh, I was afraid. Oh, I didn't. So they have to understand where they did wrong, but it's not so much a leaning into facing it. Spirit, is there any sort of like, they have to see what they've done? Fuck, really? Wait. To an extent. Because that karma, there's karma literally on the judgment card on her necklace. And with the 7 of Cups, always reminds me of Adam and Eve, right? And selling a dream. So it's like what they lied to themselves with that Adam and Eve apple there, it shatters because the 7 of Cups is in reverse. So it's like a dose of realism here. And now it's like, oh, I could have went this way, but I got triggered, so I went that way. Okay, now I get it. So it's more of an understanding than I just heard getting your comeuppance. Why? Who on my spirit team says that word? That's so, I feel like, Grandma, is that you? That's a vibe. Anyway, all right, Spirit. So after passing, do they have to face it? It's almost like their soul elevates. So the part that you want them, this is why it's complicated. When we pass away, our ego goes. Like, in the healing stage, our ego can be there, but it's more of like, we have to face things with gentleness. Like, it's not as tough as the world around us. So it's just very like, I'm in the energy and it's really fucking weird. Like, I'm very uncomfortable for one. I can't sit still. So it's very angelic would be the vibe, I would say. Spirit, can you give this to me an example? Like, let's say I passed, well, we're not manifesting that. But let's say, I passed away yesterday, and today I have to, you know, soul review. Like, what am I dealing with? Like, what am I going to deal with in terms of the people? Okay, the conflicts. Okay, other people. Here we go. Magician. Manifesting. Okay. Pathetic. Not working. Okay. Family. Incomplete. The things that you didn't get accomplished in this lifetime is the shit that you have to face. So it's like, this sucks. It's not so much the people. Honestly, like, I wouldn't say flip out on nobody, but if there's something you got to get off your chest, a conversation you might need to have, you know, don't come from a place of aggression. But if there's something that you don't have closure on, I would say to have that fucking conversation eventually. Because in this energy, it's like, all right, spirit, all right, I'm dead. I'm dead. And I've fucked over a lot of people. What's going to happen? Tell me. It's more like, it's reminding me of like going to therapy and being like, okay, but why did you treat, I don't know. Why did you treat Sam that way for 5 years? Well, I don't know. I guess I felt like Sam was going to hurt me. Oh, interesting. And why do you feel like Sam was going to hurt you? Well, now that you mention it, I had my heart broken by this other person like 10 years ago, and I promised myself I'd never let it happen again. And then the therapist is like, well, do you see why you weren't able to love to the fullest of capacity? It's almost like therapy on steroids. So it's not really about the other people. If it's deep enough, like if you have a soul contract specifically, then kind of. But even then, it's like, it's more all-encompassing is the only way I know how to describe it. It's not a just you thing. It's a pattern thing. So like, again, going back to that ex, right? He did it to me, but he also did it to this girl, and he did it to that girl, and he did it to that girl, and he did it to that girl. So it's not like he has to focus specifically on just me because there's a theme. Do you see what I'm saying? So they more so, and us too, we more so have to focus on the theme. Will we have to acknowledge that we've done some fuck shit to people? Yeah, but we're already more evolved because the ego's kind of gone. So it's like, we understand the assignment a little bit better on the other side because there's nothing there of earthly worries to make us have to look at it that way. I hope this is making sense. Let me know if this is making sense in the comments because I feel like this is complicated. It's very complicated. I think it's more like you get grouped in, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's a person by person basis unless there's like a real need for it. But for the most part, it feels like we want you to see patterns, not necessarily, it just feels like it's unnecessary to look at everyone individually because that's why you were being haunted by all of them for all of your living life. Does that make sense? So one thing I will say is until the day that person passes away, if they haven't made right with you, chances are you will always pop into their mind from time to time. Like even if it's 20 years down the road, even if you're thinking about somebody that's like from 10 years ago and you're like, why? Because something wasn't healed. It's almost like a part of your soul is stuck in the past. And when you pass away, you're bringing those soul fragments back. So you're pulling parts of you back. And the only way to do that is to understand why you let yourself down. It's you-centered. It's not them-centered. Does that make sense? I feel like this makes sense. Yeah, it's like, where did you trap yourself because you felt like it was dangerous to love? Where did you trap yourself because voices of the past telling you can't? It's more, yeah, this is kind of a bummer. They do have to grieve, that's one thing, but it's more like an understanding than it is a look at what you did to them. Like it's not like that. Yeah, it's like, where did you not grow emotionally? And you might have to, because look at how he's looking at that past woman. So if there's significant soulmates, so this doesn't feel like karmics. If you dated fuck. Well, the person I thought of is never going to get their comeuppance. But, sorry, I need water. It's like, in order for your soul to develop, it has to release the old. So regardless, it has to release the pain of the past. The thing is, it just feels like it's a grouping more than it is a specific person, unless it's like a soulmate contract and you like, elaborate on this for me, Spirit. There's specific souls that you agreed to have, I think we all know this, right? That you agreed to have situations with. Those people where it was predestined, they will have to look at it to an extent. And they'll be like, oh, okay, now I remember. It's more of a remembering, which is why it's not a punishment type of vibe. It's a remembering. It's like, oh, that was my soulmate that was supposed to trigger an awakening in me back in 2013. And I was too afraid, and now I'm grieving it. And so, okay, in the next life, I've learned, so I'm going to try to do better. Like, that's the vibe. So I'm not saying go off on your ex, but I'm saying if you got shit to say, you might want to do it. Yeah. You might want to do it before it's too late. Yeah, because notice how these are counterparts and one's up and one's down. So it's reminding me of like leeching off of people's energy and stuff like that. It's like, where did you let yourself down in relationships? Where did you feel like you weren't enough, and so you projected that onto the people? Because again, I'm being drawn to this glass being half empty now because it's upside down. So it's like you had a negative mindset, so then you attracted someone with a negative mindset. And so it's like understanding why you attract what you attract, not necessarily the specific person unless you had a soul contract. Yeah, and then that's like manifestation and stuff. So it's like, where did we miss out? Because you know that quote, you miss 100% of the chances you don't take? It's that vibe. It's like, we gave you this chance, you didn't take that opportunity, so we're going to review it, why you didn't take that chance, so that in the next lifetime, you'll have the intuition in your subconscious mind to not make the same mistakes. That's kind of the vibe. But when it comes to specific people, if you feel like that person in your mind was a karmic or something, you might want to just say what you got to say. Maybe not during Mercury retrograde, unless you could be nice about it. But yeah, unless you were a fated, predestined partner. Okay, so let's say you're a predestined partner, Spirit. Then what? You have to see it from a different perspective, yeah. Where you let it fail. So, okay, so if it's like a soulmate or something, one of those longer relationships, you do have to take a look at like where you went wrong. Again, but it's going right back to me focused, me centered, not like I'm sitting here and I'm seeing that you've cried all these tears. It's like, I feel like in the grand scheme, that doesn't really matter, if I'm being honest, which kind of sucks because I was kind of hoping Petty Betty over here for a minute. But it's like, they have to reevaluate where they stifled their own ability to grow something that was actually solid, that was actually something that their heart desired. It's like learning where you limit yourself. Yeah. So that in the next chapter, you don't do the same thing. So even, this could be, if you believe in reincarnation, I mean, how are you clicking on this and not? But this could be something like, so that in the next chapter, next reincarnation, right, you link up with that same soul, but in the next lifetime, let's say you got your heart shattered by a runner. The next lifetime, it's almost like it flip-flops to even out the energy, because I'm being drawn right back to yin yang. So let's say you got your heart shattered by someone that was in your soul contract, not a karmic, not someone you were energetically aligned to, someone you were predestined with. It's like in the next chapter, now you get to be the strong one. They're chasing after you. So there is a flip-flop, because it's like the whole essence of this life is to understand everything. That's kind of the vibe. So yeah, not focus on a specific person. So sorry, unless it's a soulmate. But even still, it's more like, oh, I fucked it up. All right, so in the next lifetime, switching. So let's say, all right, Spirit's giving me examples, so I'm going to go with this. Let's say that you have a parent that is emotionally abusive, right? And that really fucks you up. Next lifetime, assuming both of you are meant to reincarnate, you would have control and they would be the one that have to. So it's like their soul will learn what they've done wrong, but it's not the 3D body. The 3D body gets haunted throughout their entire life because they're not dealing with it. But higher up, it's just not, it's not that deep, which is why there's not too much like karmic retribution, because by then it's like, all right, well, you didn't learn, so let's figure out how to make you better for the next lap around the earth is kind of the vibe here, unfortunately. Damn, I was really hoping for any form. Okay, final cards and then I'm done. Spirit, any form of like, I have to face the yeah. Not really. Damn, not really. Kind of. It's more like, it's so detached. That's a problem. Like, notice the angel, well, probably not. Notice the angel wings on her. You're in a higher perspective. So it's like, Oh, I was teetering on the line. I didn't understand. I have an issue with attachment because my parents, remember Empress and Emperor came out in the beginning, so it's like I fucked it up because early on in my back to like the first 7 years of my life, right? Like I had parents that fought, and so early on I believed love wasn't safe, and so that's why I was sabotaging things. It's more of a summary of your life than it is a cherry picking of specific people. I don't think they ever have to face that we cried in our beds. Sorry. But I do think it's something energetically where, like, let's say you're crying in your bed over someone. I think they'll be intuitively drawn to you at that point. Like, it's almost like you're grieving. Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know if you guys saw that, but all of a sudden I don't know if you saw that. The video just went, like, it zoomed in and out. Like, it almost went yes. Like, it was really weird. So when you're grieving, it's almost like, yeah, because I'll have times where I'm grieving about something, and then all of a sudden that person will like pop up strong in my head, and it's like, why? And then all of a sudden I'll see a pick a card where it's like, who's thinking of you? And it's them. And I'm like, what? Like, it's been like 5 years. It's like we are always telepathically connected when our hearts get involved. Does that make sense? I feel like that's the best way to describe it. We're telepathically connected because until we grieve it, that like psychic link hasn't been released because the part of us is still stuck in the past. So the runner, right? The person that doesn't want to be what we need, they run away from it, but they haven't given us the closure. No one's gotten the closure. Look at all the water. It's all still tumultuous. So it's like you're running away from the problem, but there's still a psychic link there. So while you're trying to find your happiness elsewhere, the other person trying to find their happiness in someone else, you're still haunting them because that psychic link is still there because there was a heart connection. So it's like when you grieve, they can pick up on it. That explains why. Okay. Yeah. So to an extent, but some of them just really push that shit down and compartmentalize it. But hey, they're going to have to reincarnate if they keep doing that. So that's something. Yeah, it's like they have to see how they were the problem. That's kind of the vibe. They have to see how they were the problem and why they missed out on a lot of opportunities because they felt like they weren't enough, or they felt, because it's just very us. It's like once we leave this realm, we don't really, there's no ego. So it's like, there's no need to be like, you did this. It's not like that. It's more like, this is what you missed out on. That's kind of the vibe. It's like, this is the potential timeline you could have had with Ashley had you opened your heart up, but now you can't. Like, it's more that. Back deck energy? Yeah. What did lovers? Yeah. It's like where you didn't evolve, you have to take a look at that because you were disconnected from yourself. This reminds me of like our balance of masculine and feminine energy as well. We have to have a good blend of both where we know how to go after the things we want, but we also need to know how to fall back. So it's like we haven't, when we pass away, when we're talking about this, right? Pass away, we have to figure out why we were not in alignment is kind of the vibe here, why things didn't work out. So it's more of a why than it is a you have to face it. I hope that makes sense. So thekarmicdf.com if you want to book a private reading. You guys can find me on all social media. Let me know what you guys think. Did you make it till the end? Let me know. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. Maybe it's because of the full moon. But yeah, it's just more of like a higher evolved type of energy. So I'm going to leave it here. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this down in the comment section below. Let me know if you guys made it till the end. Sending you guys so much love. I hope that you have a wonderful day. You guys can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, thekarmicdf.com for a private reading. But I'm going to leave it here, besties. So thank you guys so much for watching.